What is up, everyone? Welcome to the channel. Today we have gotten a ton more information about Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2. This is gonna be a really random, sporadic video of me just talking about random things. I streamed the presentation on Twitch that they gave and watched some of the Modern Warfare 2 gameplay at COD Next, so I just wanted to kind of cover the things that they talked about. I didn't take full notes on everything, but I do have some good notes that I thought would be interesting to talk about. But like I said, I'm probably pretty much just going to scroll through Twitter at the end of this video and just see all the things that I missed talking about and kind of give my thoughts on them. But let's jump into it and we will start talking about all of the new things that we've learned about Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2. All right, so first up, let's talk about the new map. Al Mazrah is what it's called, and it is pretty great from what we saw in the videos. They tried to really, big problem with Caldera that people had was that there was a lot of like open space without much cover between different points of interest and things like that. And it looked like in the trailer that it's really dense and there's a lot of cover between different places, like micro points of interest between the big points of interest. And you can see that on the map. You can see all these little buildings in between the actual named points of interest. They've also brought back a bunch of the old maps again, like they did for Verdansk. Verdansk had a lot of different older Call of Duty maps integrated into the BR map, which I always thought was super cool. They've brought back Terminal, so Terminal is at airport, which is going to be sick. But overall, I mean, my thoughts about the map in general, it just looked amazing. Like I was pretty hyped about the map that I saw that they showed off. Something else they talked about, so loadouts. There's been discussion recently on Twitter about whether or not there's going to be loadouts. There are still loadouts, but the way you get them is different. So now you get them from strongholds. This was all leaked ahead of time, so a lot of you may have heard this, but it's all confirmed now. There's strongholds throughout the map that are basically defended by AI, which we'll talk more about AI as we go on. But there's AI throughout the whole map, and strongholds are where you get your loadouts, where you can purchase your loadouts. So you can still get your custom weapons that you get ahead of time, but it's going to be, I think, more difficult to get them, and you have to fight through AI to get there, which to me just sounds like a third-party nightmare. Like, I think it's really interesting because when they talked about Warzone 2 and DMZ, we'll talk about DMZ in a second. That's a different game mode. It was almost like they were like hyping up the fact that there was AI, and I don't think I've ever heard anyone say, even my friends that aren't very good, I've never heard them say like they liked having AI. It doesn't make them feel good to kill an AI player. So I'm not really sure why they're going down this path. A lot of people think that it's because they want to make those kids or maybe people that are just worse feel better about playing the game and have more fun because they can actually get some kills. But like I said, I've never literally heard anyone say that they wanted that, and they've really banked hard on that for Warzone 2.0 and DMZ. For DMZ, it makes more sense, but for Warzone, I don't like that. I don't think anybody really likes that. And then what was funny is they went and talked about Warzone Mobile. So Warzone Mobile is going to be coming out for Android and iOS, and it's going to be on Verdansk. And they like bragged about the fact that there's no AI. It's 120 player Verdansk, literally the same old Verdansk map we had, and they're like bragging about the fact that they only have real players and no AI players. And I'm like, well, literally 5 minutes ago, you were telling me how great this is, that it's in Warzone 2 and DMZ. And now you're like bragging that it's not in Warzone Mobile. It was just really weird.
So we are supporting up to 120 live players in the single match.
Wait, hold on. Did you just say 120 players? Or do you mean bots? Because it seems like in Battle Royale games on mobile, they're usually loaded up with boring bots.
You can't,
we believe it's critically important.
You can't insult bots being in your game when the entire first half of the presentation was about how there are bots in everything that you've just developed.
So for anyone who's tired of playing with nothing but bots,
So while we're on the topic of Warzone 2, Modern Warfare 2, and Warzone Mobile, something that I think is absolutely amazing and is going to be huge for the franchise is that they all share progression. They all share the same weapons, probably the same stats. So the weapons will probably be balanced the same between the different games. And all the progression that you have on Warzone Mobile will carry over to Warzone 2, Modern Warfare 2, which like I said, I think is amazing. I think that's going to be awesome. I'm super hyped for Verdansk coming back on Warzone Mobile. I think that if done correctly, Warzone Mobile could absolutely take over the entire market pretty much for mobile BRs. It's just the potential there is unbelievable, and the market size in mobile is just huge because everybody has a cell phone around the world, literally, and the vast majority of those phones will be able to play Warzone Mobile. So I think this is the reason we're seeing all these companies push into mobile games, is just because the market size is gigantic because everyone has a phone. So if they do it well, really excited for that. Something else that was confirmed is a third person playlist. So it's not going to be like a toggle in any game mode where you can go to third person, but there is going to be a third-person playlist in Modern Warfare 2 and probably Warzone 2. A lot of people are like annoyed by this, and I'm like, I don't care. If it's good, that's awesome. If it's not good, I just will play the regular playlist. So I don't care. I think it's cool that they're adding it. It'll be fun to try out. And along that same train of thought, something that's really important with third-person games is where the bullet comes from. So in Modern Warfare and Warzone, the first version, essentially the physical bullet kind of came out of like your eyes. So it was shot essentially out of your eyes. It looked like it was coming out of the barrel of the gun, but really the actual point, this is why you could use head glitches, because if your head was showing, the bullet would still miss the thing you were hiding behind and go where you were aimed. But in this case, they said that they've completely changed that. So now it's more like a PUBG style system where the bullet is actually coming out of the gun. So that's going to lead to some interesting things with head glitches and stuff like that. We'll see how that actually plays. But that's a huge change. It's a massive change. It's the first Call of Duty that I'm aware of that's ever had that mechanic where it's more realistic. The bullet's actually coming out of the gun, so head glitches might be harder to use. It kind of changes the way third person is going to play a little bit. I mean, I think it's cool. I don't know how it's going to play. I have to actually try it out and see if it feels good in a video game. I like moving more towards things like that where it's a little more realistic. But we'll have to see how it actually plays in terms of enjoyment for the game. Something they really focused on at the beginning of the presentation was the fact that water is fully playable now. So in Modern Warfare and Warzone, there was no water, and when there was water, it was either shallow or if it was deep, it killed you, like the edge of the map. So for Warzone 2, Modern Warfare 2, you can swim, you can dive under the water, you can use certain weapons underwater. So there's going to be full immersiveness with the water, and there's also going to be water vehicles, so there'll be boats and things like that you can drive. So I think that's pretty cool. Let's see, what else did I tweet about? So yeah, the new map looks sick. I think the map is going to be awesome. There is prox chat, so proximity chat from other BRs like PUBG and stuff like that, where enemies on the other team, you can open mic to enemies on the other team when they're within a certain distance. So this leads to hilarious trash talking between walls and just hilarious situations in general in these games. So I'm really excited for that. I'm a little nervous about demonetization on YouTube because of that, but like overall, I think it's going to be hilarious and tons of fun that they have prox chat in this game now. What other tweets did I have here? So I took a few other notes on my phone while I was watching. So heartbeat sensors are back, but they have a battery now. This is basically what we asked for the whole time. Like, I understand that heartbeat sensors are fine and people like to use them, so I don't think they should be removed, but just give them a way that they are balanced somewhat. And so now it has a battery that'll run out. There's probably gonna be some way to recharge it in the map, or maybe it just recharges over time. But hopefully if that's done well, that will make heartbeat sensors not be quite so annoying. There's certain grenades that they showed off. I don't remember what it was called, but basically in the video they showed a guy using a heartbeat sensor, and then because he was on the ground level and it showed 3 pings directly in front of him, he knew the guys were above him, so he threw a grenade that stuck to the ceiling, and that killed the guys that were above him. And that sounds scary to me. I don't really like grenades that go through walls. That doesn't sound great, but we'll see how it plays out in actuality. We've seen the full Gunsmith now, and it looks amazing. Quick note on my video yesterday, so I was like 98% correct. There's just one small addition to that. So basically I made it sound like if you use the M4 weapon platform and the M4 receiver in that platform, you can unlock all of the platform specific attachments for that gun. That's not how it works. So there's going to be about 16 attachments for the M4 for each receiver. So in order to unlock all of the universal attachments for the platform, you'll have to use the M4 receiver for 16 attachments. You'll have to use the M16 receiver for 16 attachments, and then whatever the other receivers are to unlock the rest of the attachments. But then once you unlock those, so like if you unlock one of the attachments that you only can unlock with the M16 receiver, you'll have that for the entire platform. So you can use it on the M4 or any of the other platform weapons that are part of that family. So small addition there. It's not really, I wasn't really wrong. I just kind of missed that. But the rest of what I said is correct. It looked like they have completely reworked the vehicles. So the physics behind the vehicles, things like that, you can like shoot out tires on an enemy vehicle, and just looked like the whole system's been reworked and be much more realistic. So that's pretty cool. Like the ability to shoot out somebody's tires so they can't drive away as fast. I love things like that. I think that's adds to the realism and just the fun in general. All right, not much else I want to cover. Just wanted to talk about at least some of the bigger things that they talked about in this. DMZ, they didn't give very much information on. DMZ is going to be a extraction style game mode, a lot like Escape from Tarkov. Sounds like there's a ton of AI throughout the map, but they didn't really give very many details on that. I think we'll be getting more information as time goes on about that and Warzone 2. Kind of holding back a little bit of that just so they have more things to talk about as we get closer to release. There also is a firing range, so I've gotten probably 45 messages or so in the last few days, or tags in different posts about people saying, oh my gosh, TGD is gonna be so happy there's a firing range. Yes, firing range is great, but I think that most people don't understand that that's really not the part of the job that was difficult for TGD. Like, testing damage values on the firing range will be nice. It'll be a little bit faster than what I was doing before, but the real thing that takes time for TGD is doing all the frame by frame videos for stats like aim down sight speed, sprint to fire time, all the different movement speeds, just anything you have to go frame by frame in 240 FPS. You have to take the video, open the video, go frame by frame to count from the action starting to the action ending. I mean, that takes, not even kidding, that's been like 15 times, 20 times as much time consuming as damage value testing. Damage value testing is really easy. You shoot somebody, you open the menu, you record the damage value. That's all you do. So yeah, it's nice. I'm not complaining. It's just people don't really understand that that's not the part of the job that took forever for me. So it'll help, but not that much. But overall, I'm hyped for Modern Warfare 2. I haven't played a Modern Warfare, or I haven't played a multiplayer COD in a long time. Like, I had Modern Warfare 19, I had Black Ops Cold War, I had Vanguard, but I didn't really play them. I think I'm actually going to play this one a lot. And it looks like a ton of fun. So I'm looking forward to it. Warzone 2, I'm on the fence about because of all the AI, but I'm 100% willing to give it a chance and see what they've developed. Map looks incredible. A lot of new features, boats, swimming, things like that. It just looks good. So overall, I hope you learned a lot. I hope you enjoyed the video. I know it was just me talking, but really excited for these games.